Today I'm going to do something a little different from what I usually share on this channel. One question just keeps coming up over and over and over again. You guys are emailing me, you're leaving instant messages, you're leaving comments in YouTube videos, and once and for all, I want to answer your question. Online course or private lesson? So if you've been looking for a way to improve your piano or singing or musicianship skills, and you're trying to decide whether you should invest in private lessons, so either on Zoom or in person, or to check out an online course. If you've ever wondered that, what the right answer for you is, stick around. I'm Brenda Earl-Stokes. I'm the owner and creator of Piano and Voice with Brenda.com. I make creative and practical resources to help you to become a more versatile musician. So, full disclosure, I have been teaching private lessons for almost 30 years, pretty close to 30 years. And I have also created a suite of online courses. And my first series of online courses came out in 2018, I think. And since then, I've created a ton of online courses. So this is why I feel like I can sit here today and talk you through all of these points, because I have definitely worked with people for whom one is a better solution and people who the other option is a much better choice. For all of us in 2020, there was an influx of online courses that flooded the market. I mean, I'm sure you saw them. And I think a lot of people started thinking differently about, how they go about learning. So I'm going to take a moment and just share some thoughts on online courses and the pros and cons of each, with the idea that hopefully this will help for you to make a more informed decision. So let's talk about private lessons. Private lessons are what most people consider first when studying singing or an instrument like piano. And lessons are typically given in person, but since 2020, many teachers continue to teach via online platforms like Zoom, or there's a new one called Rock Out Loud. I tend to do most of my teaching either via Zoom or on Google Meet because I find the sound quality is better. Private lessons tend to be tailored to the unique needs of students. Since it's a one-on-one setting, the teacher is able to focus on the strengths and challenges specific to each student. So private teachers are able to give a lot of structure to their learning and can help students make deliberate process from week to week. And from my own experience, many of my students appreciate that accountability that comes from weekly or bi-weekly lessons, and they tend to make a lot more improvement from making that commitment. So I find that people know that if they're going to see me every week or every other week, there's that accountability that some people really need that helps them to really stay on track and make the most of their sunken cost. Like they're like, I have to pay for the lesson, I should practice. Since one-on-one lessons are by definition custom services, they can be expensive. So that's kind of the con of all of it. The pro is that you really get that structured learning, you really get that support that you need. But the con is that it tends to be expensive. You can also be limited by the expertise of the teacher you choose. So you always want to make sure you're choosing somebody who has, a broad enough expertise to cover what you need. Private lessons can also be very difficult to schedule for folks who work unusual hours or have busy lives. So I know moms or dads of young kids, it can be very difficult to schedule things like that. People who have sort of irregular working hours, like a physician or a nurse who's working 12-hour shifts, or someone who tends to have more busier seasons, sometimes that can make that regular time very challenging. And so for that, private lessons aren't always the best solution for everyone. On the contrary, online lessons, you have kind of two choices of them. They can be asynchronous, which means they are pre-recorded. So you're watching videos or something that's pre-recorded, or they can be synchronous. And synchronous means that they are live. And so, the online course part of it is that you're in a class or something that's taking place online. The asynchronous ones can come with some video component, a print component, some kind of feedback system. So sometimes online courses use something like a private Facebook group, or they use something like Mighty Networks, or, there's a lot of different places where there can be kind of an online forum as well. So, or sometimes you can just email the course director or that kind of thing. Online courses are a great resource for gathering a narrow set of specific skills from my experience. Something like beginner jazz piano is one, or, like a simple piano improv class, something like that. More generalized training like solfege studies or musicianship or general piano skills. So I find that if you are looking for something that is a little bit more broad in subject, that online courses can be a really great place to go. So when I first started making online courses, there was a very limited number of platforms that you could use, but now there's a lot of platforms who have a lot of, really workable communication strategies, and they can be very, very easy to use and can be very reliable and enjoyable to use. So that's kind of how online courses work. Online courses tend to be a lot less expensive than one-on-one private lessons, and they allow for a lot of flexibility of learning. So these are great options for people who prefer self-directed learning, and they are a godsend for people with busy or irregular schedules. So I know I hear a lot from the members in my online courses that they're like, I practiced at 3:00 in the morning because I was up with the baby and I couldn't, and they put their headphones on and they're able to do things. Or they, are able to do it at 7 a.m. before everybody else is up in the house, obviously wearing headphones. It's something that you can kind of throw into the flow of your day. Sometimes people will engage with the online courses at their lunch hour, that kind of thing. Online courses are also fantastic for people who want to have a broad range of knowledge, as you can really pick and choose from a variety of sources to customize your learning. So then you're not reliant on having one teacher who maybe has a narrower set of skills. You could take a variety of courses and kind of fill something in together. Here's the downside to online courses. After many years of doing this, and I've created a lot of online courses, the biggest shortcoming with online courses is that people love to buy them, but often they don't actually use them, okay? Just like people who like to buy books as a hobby or art supplies, a lot of times people joke like, I like buying books as a hobby, but I don't actually read them. Or they have, closets full of scrapbooking supplies, but they've never made a scrapbook before. So it's really, really important for you to know yourself and say, asynchronous learning doesn't need work for me because I need the accountability of private lessons in order to succeed, right? Or if you feel like you're in a subject where you're going to need a lot of support, if you're taking guitar for the first time and you feel really out of your element, then an online course may not be a good choice for you. So as you can see by my comparison chart, online courses are great for self-directed people, right? If you need to work at your own pace, they're budget friendly, lots of general knowledge, and you can create your own course of study. Private lessons are great if you need accountability, if you need to stay on a schedule or a plan. They're a bigger investment, right? Specific material tailored to your needs and your learning style, and you can study what your teacher offers. Okay? And remember, sometimes people say to me, well, private lessons are so expensive, I don't know if it's worth it. But then if you buy a bunch of online courses and never use them, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference? It's still expensive. So there are definitely ways to work around it. Another option is what I call the hybrid option, and this is combining the best of both worlds. So since we don't live in a binary world where it's this or this, here's some hybrid models that have worked really well for some of my students and colleagues. The first is a hybrid model where a student signs up for an online course and combines it with monthly or biweekly lessons. So what someone will do is say, there's a few things that I feel like I need to learn first, and then they'll take 3 or 4 private lessons with me till they feel like they're at, and then I can send them right into the online course for them to kind of go and do their thing. Sometimes people will sign up for the online course, but they want a little bit of hand holding as they work through it. And so that's another thing. They'll take a handful of lessons with me. Sometimes people will take a bunch of the courses, work through that, and then you can actually go and work one-on-one with the person when you're ready to go more specific about it. So you can see there's a lot of options. For me, what I did that really changed things was switching to a membership model. Okay, so I used to sell individual courses to people. And what I found was such a problem is, like I said before, tons of people would buy it, but they wouldn't use it. And that really bothered me a lot because I thought all of this amazing work and I don't want people spending money on something and then not doing anything with it. So what I did about 3 years ago is I switched to a membership model. So it just seemed simpler at first to sell them one at a time, but when I switched, okay? So what's been amazing about the membership model that I have, and the membership model means all of my courses are housed in one place and you pay a monthly fee in order to access absolutely everything. And so not only do you have access to all the courses, but you also have access to me. So people will send me a video of something they're practicing and say, what should I do? They'll send questions. And we also do a once a month or twice a month sometimes members call. So we'll do a Zoom call and I always ask people, what do you want to learn? Do you have questions? And so there's that live component as well. And so what I found by switching to the membership model is it was unbelievable how improved people were in using the work. So, for example, in 2 weeks of 1 month, 750 lessons were completed. So you can see 715, and there were 17 course completions. That was in 2 weeks of 1 month, right? And that went from, like a very low engagement rate to a very high engagement rate. Most members now are logging in a few times a week, and a lot of people are actually checking in every single day. I can see all of this on my side of the platform, and it is really amounting to a ton of progress and growth. So what I found is that when people commit to the membership and that ding of the monthly fee, every month they're getting charged. It's not a lot of money, but it's enough to get people really thinking about it. They commit to doing the work. And what I also found about the membership model versus specific courses is that most people out there actually need a range of skills. So an all-inclusive membership like this with a range of offerings gives folks the opportunity to have everything in one place, which vastly streamlines their study. So rather than having to go like, I need this book for this, and I need this teacher for this, and I need this course for this, you can have one place where everything is there. And so a lot of versatile musician members are what I call course jumpers, right? So they would take this course and this course, but now they found that it's been much easier to stay in one place. So how do you decide what's right for you? And here's a couple of things that I would ask so you can kind of figure out your own disposition. Question 1 is, do you need a lot of support, or are you good at setting goals and meeting them on your own? Okay. If you need a lot of support to stay on track, then I would say private lessons are a better choice for you, okay? If you feel, generally speaking, that you're good at setting a goal and showing up, that kind of thing, then you're probably good with an online course. Question 2 is, do you have a budget for a premium product like private lessons, or would a less expensive package like an online course or membership work best for you? So if you find that you don't have a lot of disposable income to invest in private lessons, then a membership might be a really, really great choice, or an online course might be a fantastic choice for you because you're still getting a lot of content, but it's not costing you that premium price. And then the third question I would ask is, do you have a schedule that allows for weekly lessons, or do you need to find something that kind of fits in the crack of your life? So if you know your own schedule and things are crazy, or you just every week is different, then an online course might be a perfect choice for you. And then the final question is, how uncomfortable are you with this material? Like how much are you kind of struggling, or how specific is your needs, right? So you think about, if you just want to learn general piano, well, an online course might work great. But if you have a very specific niche of things that you want to learn, or you are starting from scratch and you have no idea what you're doing, that might be the time for you to consider even just taking a handful of one-on-one lessons so that someone can start and guide you in the right direction. And then once you have those basic skills and the basic understanding, then you'll be ready to jump in and go into an online course. So I hope this video helped you to better get an understanding of how this works. I have found over the years that there's definitely a huge benefit to private lessons or online work. Again, the membership model works really well too, because I found that has been the most productive way for people to kind of enjoy online courses in a place where there is that kind of support. But then also, private lessons may be the best bet for you depending on your disposition. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Leave them in the comment below. Have you tried online courses before? How has that worked for you? Do you feel like private lessons are better, for piano or for singing? I would love to hear, your kind of dialogue on all of this. If you want to know more about my work, check out my website, pianoandvoicewithbrenda.com. And feel free to leave your questions and comments below. I would love to have a dialogue with people to sort of get a sense of where everybody is in this kind of 21st century world of online courses and really the ability to study with anybody, anywhere across the world. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.